Broke celebrities you did not know about. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's current troubles, charges of domestic abuse, and being dropped as Grindelwald in the next film from the Fantastic Beasts franchise might make him nostalgic for just a few years ago, when the actor was just entangled in a series of nasty lawsuits with former managers trying to assign blame for his financial ruin. Out of the mess came a window into Depp's outrageous spending. This included $30,000 a month on wine, $300,000 a month to maintain a 40-person staff, $150,000 a month for 24-hour security, $200,000 a month on private planes, and $3 million to blast journalistic legend Hunter S. Thompson's ashes out of a cannon. Wesley Snipes. A fixture of 90-second cinema with hit movies like the Blade trilogy, Snipes was one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood during his heyday. However, Snipes' big success at the box office might have gotten to his head, leading him to think that he didn't have to pay any taxes. And in 2006 he was charged with multiple counts of tax evasion. Snipes tried to argue that he was a non-resident alien of the USA, but in reality he is a US citizen by birth. Snipes was ultimately convicted of willful failure to file federal income tax returns and served 3 years in prison from 2010 to 2013. Kim Basinger. A blonde bombshell of the late 80 seconds and 90 seconds, Basinger is now famous for her ill-advised financial decisions. In the late 80 seconds, she was advised by her family to buy a large portion of a small town in Georgia called Bristolton. The plan was to transform the town into a tourist destination and establish a film festival there. She paid $20 million for the town, depleting her finances greatly. She then wanted to back out of a film role in 1993 seconds boxing Helena after agreeing to star in it. She was then sued by Mainline Pictures for breach of contract and asked to pay $8.1 million to the studio. Basinger's net worth had been seriously depleted by the purchase of the town, and she filed for bankruptcy. The case was settled and she was asked to pay $3.8 million to the studio instead. She sold the town eventually, resulting in a lot of problems with her family. Chris Tucker. In 2014, funnyman Chris Tucker faced a massive $14 million tax bill that swelled through years of non-payment. The Rush Hour star still found plenty of money to buy houses one after another. In 2007, it was reported that Tucker bought his third home, a $6 million, 14,000 square foot mansion. Michael Jackson. It's hard to imagine that someone who made as much money as Michael Jackson could also end up being this deep in financial troubles. But what many people don't know is that at the time of his death, the king of pop was between $400 and $500 million in debt because of his ridiculous spending in his later years. His home in Neverland was close to being seized by his creditors, who had lent him large sums of money both for his personal life and for his legal fees, which had increased a great deal in his final days because of the many lawsuits that had been brought against him. However, when he died, his estate was able to pay back his debts, and he has since become one of the highest-earning dead celebrities of all time. Mike Tyson. When you're as successful of an athlete as Tyson, it's difficult to not have an ego that could be your ultimate downfall, and who can blame him for making poor financial decisions. After all, he was making $30 million per fight during his heyday. That ego, coupled with drug addiction and a messy divorce, and Tyson ended up with some pretty hefty financial problems that ended up in bankruptcy. Despite amassing over $300 million over the course of his career, Tyson ended up getting into trouble with the IRS over tax evasion. But it didn't stop there. The boxer was also reportedly buying luxury homes, cars, and exotic animals, all leading to his wealth being depleted much faster than he thought it would, even leading him to rack up huge amounts of debt to maintain the life he had become accustomed to. Michael Vick. Lots of celebrity athletes go broke, but Michael Vick stands out for actually paying what he owed his creditors. 6 years after filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2008, Vick paid nearly the entire $18 million he owed after racking up debt in the wake of his downfall, and incarceration for running an illegal dog fighting ring. He's now a sports analyst for Fox. Nicolas Cage. Did you guys ever wonder why Nicolas Cage seemed to be taking any work he could get at a certain point in his career? After all, we remember The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Ghost Rider, which were head-scratchers when you consider the more serious kinds of film roles he had taken on earlier in his career. This was not because he had suddenly become interested in entertaining blockbusters with no cinematic value, but because he was in deep financial problems, because of his crazy spending, and needed to pay the bills. In the early 2000s, Cage's assets amounted to a large number of luxury homes, a fleet of limited edition cars, an island, several invaluable works of art, and even a dinosaur skull. He also had gotten himself into trouble with the IRS over tax evasion and ended up having to auction off many of his prized possessions to pay off the millions of dollars of debt he had racked up. Toni Braxton. Do you guys remember Unbreak My Heart? It was a song that you couldn't escape anywhere you went. It was on the radio and on MTV, going on to become one of the most ubiquitous pop songs of all time, catapulting singer Toni Braxton into the limelight and earning her over $170 million in record sales. However, Braxton filed for bankruptcy, not once, but twice over the course of her career. She made a name for herself as one of Hollywood's most prolific shopaholics, and as we all know, that is a slippery slope. In the 2000s, she self-funded a comeback show in Las Vegas that was meant to restore her finances. But luck was not on her side. She was diagnosed with a heart condition and with lupus, which resulted in her having to cancel her show due to doctors telling her she was not fit enough to perform. But she is doing better now, with a reality TV show with her family, and she has revealed in interviews that she has been trying to shop less than before. 50 Cent. It's hard to imagine that someone as successful as 50 Cent could go bankrupt. Aside from his huge success as a rapper and musician, he is also a prolific businessman. But in 2015, the rapper filed for bankruptcy after it came out that he was $30.5 million in debt because of several lawsuits and unpaid child support bills that ended up depleting his bank accounts much faster than anyone thought possible. In 2018, it came out that he was back to being a millionaire because he was paid 700 bitcoins for an album he made. But the actor has denied these claims, saying that he is still in deep financial troubles. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is another star that fell from grace. Similar to Busey, Lohan fell into partying, drugs, and alcohol. Even though she had numerous successes in her career, she was close to declaring bankruptcy in 2011. At this time, Playboy gave her $1 million to pose nude, which was financially helpful, but still not enough. 1 year later, the IRS seized all of her bank accounts to pay her federal taxes. Her tax debt on top of a rumored $600,000 credit card debt has left her with a small net worth. That's all we have for today's Broke Celebrities You Didn't Know About. Subscribe to this channel now and click on the notifications button for more videos. Thank you.